At Samsung's recent Unpacked event here in San Francisco, we got to see the new S20 lineup in all of its glory. But the big surprise, minus the fact that it was kind of leaked all over the internet beforehand, was the Galaxy Z Flip. This new foldable device folds in half lengthwise compared to the original Fold they released not too long ago, and then re-released shortly thereafter. That folded widthwise. This means it instead goes from a 6.7-inch 21.9:9 aspect ratio normal-sized phone down to a square-sized, very compact one. Now I'll do a complete walkthrough, etc. on it as well if Samsung sends me one soon, so we'll dive more into the specs and the device itself in that. But in this episode of Decoder, where I break down the tech around us, I want to talk about the tech in the Z Flip's screen, because honestly, it might just be the best implementation of a folding screen yet. So first, let's talk about the hinge. The Z Flip is using a newer hinge design than the Galaxy Fold. This one features a dual cam design that not only allows it to have no noticeable gap when closed, but it also allows it to be able to set at various angles and not snap all the way open or closed, sort of like how your laptop does. In addition to this, Samsung also added in bristles. They call the system sweeper tech that prevent dirt, dust, and debris from getting in under the hinge, an issue that they had originally at least with the very first Fold and remedied on the re-release of that. Now while the hinge technology is remarkable in and of itself, it's really the screen technology here that I'm most excited about. Up until now, every foldable device we've seen, from the Mate X to the Fold to the Razr, have used a polymer, aka essentially plastic, screen. This has been what allows them to flex as they do, but it also is why they are so easily scratched, by fingernails even in some cases, tend to have massive creases in them, and just expected overall lower lifespans. The new Galaxy Z Flip has a screen made out of that thing that we're all kind of used to screens being made out of. Glass. It's called UTG, or ultra thin glass, and it's generally considered any glass that's under 1 millimeter in thickness. It's because of how thin that it is that it can actually be bent to a radius of about 1.5 millimeters or so. Samsung even claims that this new Z Flip can be bent to that over 200,000 times without any issues. Now, the general idea of how this glass is being made is by melting down the specific, usually secret, mix of minerals and then putting it in a vat at the top of a warehouse. They then use gravity and a thin slit in the bottom of that container, and as it stretches downward out of the container, it becomes thinner and thinner, and also slowly cools until it's thin enough to be wrapped around drums. Now the benefit of this is that there's much less of a crease in the screen. It's a lot more resistant to scratches and just being touched in general. It can even use a stylus, which is why I personally think we'll see it on the sequel to the Fold, and they'll start to merge that with the Note lineup, but I digress. It also allows the flexible OLED display underneath to be seen through it with more clarity. It feels better to type on, and frankly, it just feels more solid all around. Now, of course, as with everything, it's not without some cons as well. The big one is that, of course, glass, unlike plastic, while less prone to scratches, is more prone to being cracked. And of course, it's more expensive than the polymer screens as well. Now, Samsung do only have this on the inside of the phone, so maybe there's some chance of dropping it closed instead of open when it's more protected. But even without that potential protection, it's sort of the same place that you're in with your current non-folding phone, so there's that. As for the price, well, sure, it's a phone that definitely doesn't have as high of specs as the new S20 lineup does, so the fact it folds and that screen is really the only thing that we can assume is the biggest driving factor in the $1,380 price tag that Samsung just gave it. But considering the Razr from Motorola was just released and it's $1,500 or so, and the original Fold was around $2,000, then maybe it's a good deal? Now, regardless of whether you're the type of person who might want to buy this phone, the folding glass screen is a huge leap forward for the entire folding device industry that is inevitably coming and will get cheaper and cheaper. And thanks to this glass, and honestly, like, using it, it feels really nice and the implementation is good, it feels solid. It just kind of feels like it's a huge leap towards the goal of these foldable devices actually becoming truly viable form factors. There you guys. Quick Decoder episode while I'm here in San Francisco checking out these devices. Stay tuned, please subscribe, and ding the bell next to the word subscribe so you get notified when I do new videos on these devices and others. And as always, regardless, Thanks for watching.